All right, good morning, traders. This is Perry Wilkie with StartupTrading.com. It is 8:46 a.m. Eastern Time on Monday, December 7th, 2020. So, just looking at the year-to-date chart again, pretty much here. And if you're tired of looking at this chart, you probably need to be looking at something else. So, as we're approaching up, right, these all-time highs, making new all-time highs, we printed 3,700 on Friday. We printed 3,705 overnight. Right now we're sitting about 3688, and you know, nothing's telling you that we're doing anything but slowly meandering up to 3738. When we hit that, we'll see if we stall for a long period of time, or if we start running up to basically 4,000 on the ES. So that'll be 3982. So this is going to be a little important area when we get up in here to see if it's a stall, and then we get a decent little pullback, or if we just continue to go sideways and bleed up, and maybe even pick up the pace a little bit higher. So with that said, let's look at today's action and what we're expecting for today. So looking at today, we got again this spike that we were sitting in from November 9th, right? We sat in there for from November 9th until Friday, December 4th. So pretty much a month sitting in that 1 day's trading range. And then now we're testing and breaking out to the upside. The top of that was at 3668. So keep that in mind that that's where that is. You can see that, a little bit of here. I'll zoom into more recent action for you. We got a little bit above it, come back down, a little bit above it, come back down a little bit. But basically, we're holding that breakout is what this means. So if we look at what the level fours have in store for us today, and remember, these are, extreme edges of what should trade either to the upside or the downside. So to the downside, we're looking at that 36.45 basically. To the upside, 37.51. We're unlikely to trade extremes today. Just keep that in mind. So, 37.16 up to 37.34 is on the table. If things get cooking to the upside. Otherwise, we're right back inside of Friday's action here, right? So we're right in the heart of the value area. Pay attention to 36.90 half. If we are going to start bleeding down, once the bell rings, we will only trade till about 36.90. We will not make it to 36.90 half, and then that'll be on for the bears to the little overnight sequences that they have installed since that 37.05 was printed shortly after the session opened last night. Right, if we could only get up to 36.90 and not hit 36.90 half, we'll probably get a 2-day slide coming down. If 90 half prints were, that's off the table, that today's going to be extremely bearish in my opinion. So looking at all the indexes and seeing what's going on overnight, you can see that the NASDAQ is above value area high. It's, right at Friday's bell high. These blue boxes are the salmon runs. So my title of the video is Where are the Salmon? So these blue boxes are where the salmon are from Friday. So what you want if you're bearish is you want all four indexes to stay below these blue boxes. If you like to play chop, fading both sides of the daily range, you want to see a mixed bag. You want to see some of them above those areas and some of them below those areas, right? But you don't want to see them all above, right? So all above or all below should be a little bit more bearish. All below should be a little bit more bullish all above. So you can see where this spike is that also happened right around 3 a.m. coming down. The NASDAQ's a little bit over that. The Russell really never got any legs, right? It double topped at it, and it looks like it might be taking another run to head back up towards that area. We'll find out. The ES and the Dow, right, they're below it. That's going to be right around that 92 half, and right again right around 30,163, 164 for the Dow. So watch these spikes. That's going to be another tell, right? Because you got traders trapped down here, and people that got stopped out of their long positions, right? They're wanting back in the game to the long side. So looking at little sequences overnight, you can see that the bears have been in control, right, since the that high was printed for the ES. But coming out of this low, right, the bulls are trying to recapture. They haven't lost any ground since coming out of this 36.72 quarter low in the overnight session. And remember, the trend is to the upside. The trend is not to the downside. So you have to have faith in the bulls, whether you like it or not. Same thing for the NASDAQ, right? Holding that sequence down in the overnight session, you're right up about where that 61.8 is right now at 12,535 quarter is where that line in the sand is for them. And again, looking at what the bulls got going out of the lows, they're all back on board. And so is the Russell, right? So you got another pattern, right, where the from the session highs, bears are holding their short draw, but coming out of these lows, the bulls have not been denied at all. Right, so a little bit of an edge, in my opinion, to the bulls. We'll see if the bears can hold those draws or not. The test is coming shortly. So right around the opening bell to a market near you or a dome near you. So looking at the NASDAQ, I'm just going to zoom in over here. I think holding above 12,496 is profile-wise, once the bell rings, is going to be what's more important. And you'll just have to rely on other technical analysis. There's no resistance above here, right? They sold, basically you can look at areas where they've sold previously. While there's still a little bit of room, that's going to be 12,555 and 12,072. Looking at the Russell, and again, I don't really like to add levels. I don't like to just pull them out of my ass when they're not there. So there's really nothing for the Russell as far as basic support or resistance or profile support or resistance until you probably come down to where this double top was. I'm not going to add that in there, but that would be, 863.70. I don't even think that's trading today. So there's nothing really doing for the Russell as far as, guidance on basic support resistance. There's nothing there except for where people have previously sold, similar to the NASDAQ. So you got 1896.60 and 1899.40. So, just like the ES printed 3700, it looks like the Ready wants to print, 1900. That's just a bullshit level as well. So I wouldn't put too much weight on it either. Looking at the Dow, you got 30,051. You do have, I'm not going to add it to the chart yet, but you can see where these lows are. I don't see any real resistance that was, percolated under those lows, but right around 30,105 is, I think, a good bogey line again. And then you're looking at that spike that we were talking about. That's right around that 30,164 area is, where sellers try to step in before it. If you go back and look at the chart, at least that lines up with November 24th, right? That's where sellers stepped in again. So watching that spike where it dropped at that 3 a.m. Eastern time is going to be, I think, a little bit more of an important level for the Dow than the rest of the markets because that level was sold from before. So watch that and keep in mind that, there's going to have to be some defense there or there's going to be some stop runs above that, right? So they really need to keep that above there or below it, the bears do, and the bulls just want to squeeze the bears one more time or the bulls one more time. So looking back at all the indexes here and really, giving some thoughts, inside value, above value, inside value. So right now, the market's telling you it likes what we traded Friday, right? So don't get caught up where the mark was on the close, right? Look at the price pattern. Just because these things say that they're red, it's really not red. The closes are pretty much bullshit for most of the time too. I guess I'm a foul mouth today, so you can leave your comments below if you don't like it. And then so watch these levels again, and I think your salmon run is going to tell you everything that you need to know once the session starts. Can you, 2 of 3 below, right? The NASDAQ above, the Dow and the ES below. That's going to be more of a chop fade on the edges. And then pay attention to when you get up to these boxes if you do. And again, this spike on the Dow is going to be extremely important. I hope this was somewhat helpful. I think today is not going to be that bad of a read, to be honest with you. I think, if the NASDAQ starts printing above, 12,540, let's say, it's going to be more of a choppy to up market. Holding below that level, it should be choppy to lower. And again, watch the ES. If it can't print above 36.90 after the bell rings, we could have a 2-day little, some pressure down, and these short sequences that we've had overnight could start coming to play. I hope this gives you some guardrails. You guys have a great day, and I'll talk to you tomorrow.